Okay, so in this tutorial, we're going to create a hanging curtain. So to do that, first go to your front viewport, go to create, and under standard primitive, select plane, and draw a plane in here. Then you're going to want to go to your parameters, and under length segments and width segments, you're going to want to make sure that's set to 42 on each one, length and width. Okay. Then to make this a little easier on you, go ahead and go to your perspective view, and under default shading, select edge faces so you can see those segments. Then go back to your front view. Then you'll want to select your plane to be an editable poly. So right click, go to convert to editable poly. Then go ahead and zoom in a little bit into your panel. And then under the command panel, go to selection and select edge. And then select these two edges over here. And then to make sure that just the top two edges are selected, press Alt and then drag over this other one that got selected. So once you have just these two selected, go to your ribbon and go to modify selection. And under dot gap, make sure you have 3. Okay. Then you're going to want to click this dot loop icon, and then it'll automatically select every 2 edges. So then the next step will be pulling up these segments or edges that we have highlighted. So to do that, select your move tool or just press W. Okay, once you have that, press Shift and drag. Okay, so to about here is fine. And then if you press L, it'll take you to the left view. And then you're going to make sure that you're hovering over this yellow box, and then create an angle, and then press Shift to create another one. Press Shift again to create a straight line. Press Shift again to create another angle, and then press Shift again to create another one. Okay, so here we've created the loops that will go onto the curtain rod. So once you have that, the next step is going to be to create a cylinder, which would be the curtain rod. So to do that, go to create, and under standard primitive, select cylinder. And then you can zoom in a little bit in your left view. Make sure you're still in your left view. And we did that by pressing L, or you can go up here on the left and select left. So we'll create our cylinder, and you can make it whatever shape for now you want. Okay, so once we have our cylinder, it'll be a little bit easier if you go to your perspective view. And select your cylinder again, and we're gonna scale it to fit our loops. So go to File, or I'm sorry, go to Edit and then Scale. And then scale it along the X-axis. And you can also move it down along the X-axis. Go back to Scale. So now you have here your curtain rod. Okay, so then the next step, we're going to want to go to Modify and add a cloth modifier. So under the Modify list and under Object Space Modifiers, select Cloth and then go to Object Properties and then add Objects and add your plane. And you're going to want to set that plane to Cloth. And then under Cloth Properties, under Presets, select Cotton. Okay, then select Cylinder. We're going to make that the collision object. So select that. And then press OK. Okay, and then the next step is going to be to go ahead and go back to your front view. Okay. And then make sure something is selected so your cloth modifier shows up. Go ahead and press down to the drop down button beside the cloth modifier. Select Group. Okay. Then go ahead, click and drag over these top loops that we made. Make sure they're all selected. Like that. Okay, then you're going to make group, and you can name it something like you want. And then the next step is to, if you scroll down, you'll see that your loops are unassigned, or whatever group you named this. So we're going to want to assign it to a surface. So if you go under Group, you'll see the surface button, press that. And then select the curtain rod that you drew. Okay, and then if you go down, you'll see that it's been assigned to the cylinder or the curtain rod. Okay, then go ahead and go back to your cloth parameters. And then select your auto key. And this little tab, move it all the way to the end. Okay, and then select your curtain rod and scale it down to about half. So go to Edit, Scale, and remember to move it along the X-axis. So scale it to about half and just move it down towards the end. Okay, and then take this toggle or tab again and move it all the way to the front. So then once you've done that, go ahead and select something again. Make sure cloth is selected and then just press Stimulate. Okay, so this will start creating your curtain. And as you see, it's getting smaller or thinner as you go. And that's because when we drag this toggle to the end, we made the curtain rod half the size. So that's how it's creating these ridges in the curtain. So this might take longer or faster depending on what computer you have. Okay, so once that's done, you can turn off these edge faces if you want to see it a little bit clearer. So far we have this, and if you don't want it to be this, then you can move this toggle along to make it wider or thinner. Okay, so then we're gonna want to go back to our modifier list and select shell under object space modifiers to give it some depth. You can play around to see what you like, but I recommend just setting it at 1 inch. Okay, and then the next step is you're going to want to go to your modifier list again and go to Turbo Smooth to smooth it out even more. And as you can tell, that really smooths out those loops that we created around the curtain rod. And you can make those smoother if you want under the iterations. Okay, so once you have that, you have your completed curtain. And that's how you draw a curtain in 3ds Max.